Hello everybody and welcome back to Beards of War. We're here once again at Warhammer World for Super Ed. There he is. Slow build event where today we're going to see my wife's Night Lords facing off against Super Ed's wife's Raven Guard. Here we have Rose's Night Lords with Praetor, with Paragon Blade, Jump Pack, digital weapons. We have 3 identical units of Terror Squads, 10 men with bolt guns, and each of them's got a headsman with a chain glaive, a Leviathan Dreadnought with Gravflux Bombard, Siege Drill coming down in a drop pod, and supported by fleet support there, the Primaris Lightning Strike Fighter with ground targeting augutaries, battle servitor control, and 3 sets of Kraken penetrator missiles. And here we have Amy's beautifully painted Raven Guard army, led by Alvarex Morn here, using Pride of the Legion. So that's 3 units of 5 veterans, each with a melter gun, each in a Rhino, a Mortis Contemptor with twin las cannons, a unit of 7 Dark Furies, and finally but not least, the Mordathan, full unit of 10 here, with combi plasmas on a lot of them. The mission we're playing today is Onslaught from the Age of Darkness, and the deployment type is Vanguard Strike, although as you'll see in a minute, that's not quite how everything is deployed. So, mission rules. The primary objective is Onslaught Attack, which any units destroyed in the first turn are worth 1 victory point, and seize tactical objectives. So there's 1 tactical objective in each deployment zone, which is worth 5 victory points to the opposing player if they capture it. Then we have Slay the Warlord and Attrition. Attrition is army which destroys the highest number of enemy units at the end of the game, gains an additional victory point. So, the Night Lords have won the role to go first. This is their deployment zone, and all that deployed initially was the Praetor with Jump Pack on his Tardier. Then the Terror Squad's infiltrated, 1 in the corner here, which was a counter-infiltration to this unit of veterans from the Raven Guard. Another unit of veterans which were deployed opposite the Praetor, a unit of Mordathan which infiltrated behind the bunker out of sight, then scout moved forward hoping to seize the initiative. We'll move over to the opposite side of the board where the Dark Furies deployed alongside the Mortis Contemptor, supported by another veteran squad, whilst behind the macro cannon here are the other 2 Terror Squads, and they are holding this objective, which is the Night Lord's objective, whilst the Raven Guard objective was all the way back at the start over here, being held by the veterans. The first turn of the game will be Night Fight, thanks to the Night Lord's Terror Assault rules, and the Night Lords are going first unless the Raven Guard can seize the initiative on the roll of a 6. However, Alvarex Morn lets them re-roll the dice, so let's see what we got on the second roll. Oh, it's running away. No, so the Night Lords are going first. Turn 1, Night Lord's movement phase. The Night Lord's Praetor here didn't even need to use his jump pack. He's moved forward, casually as he likes, towards the Mordathan. The Terror Squad at the back here move further along the trench line, surrounded by 2 targets, both of them juicy for them to open fire with their bolt guns. The 2 Terror Squads at the back move closer towards the objective while supporting the Leviathan Dreadnought, which has landed smack bang in the midst of the Raven Guard line here, eager to sow terror and confusion. Turn 1, Night Lord shooting phase. Terror Squad in the bunker here, shot sidelong at the Mordathan and felled 2 of their members, softening them up for the Praetor. Whilst quite dramatic over here, the Leviathan landed, opened fire with its Gravflux Bombard, which scattered back, destroyed its own drop pod, entering its style there through smoke and flame. The Phosphex from its back, ripping through the survivors, leaving just 2 alive there. Turn 1, Night Lord's assault phase. The Praetor charged in headlong at the Mordathan, took 1 wound from overwatch fire from their plasma weapons, then was nice and reserved. Issued a challenge, and just slew the one shade. The rest of the Mordathan held ground, ready to attack him back next turn. Raven Guard turn 1 movement phase, and the Raven Guard Veterans Rhino here holding the objective, refusing to move ground. The surviving Dark Furies moving away from the burning wreck of the drop pod, heading towards the Mordathan, trying to help out in their combat against the Night Lord's Praetor. Whilst in the distance, Alvarex's Rhino has moved away from the Leviathan Dreadnought, whilst the Contemptor Dreadnought aims its twin las cannons at the Leviathan in the burning wreck of the drop pod. Turn 1, Raven Guard shooting phase. The Veterans Rhino in the corner, opened fire with 2 of the veterans firing out the top hatch, felling 1 of the 10 Marines from this squad. Same with that Rhino, snap firing its weapons because it drove 12 inches, opened fire at the distant Terror Squad, felling 1 man. Whilst the Contempted Mortis Dreadnought opened fire at the Leviathan, but the las weapons pinged off its adamantic shielding. Turn 1, Raven Guard assault phase. The Dark Furies failed to get into combat, which meant that the Praetor managed to finish off and then chase down the surviving Mordathan, and as an actual fact bailed out of the trench, gone to engage them himself. Turn 2, Night Lord's movement phase. Terror Squad in the trench here, stumbled through the trench, moving ever closer towards the veterans in the Rhino there. The Lightning Primary Strike Fighter flew on, drawing a bead on the other veteran Rhino. The Praetor moves closer to square off against the Dark Furies in combat. The Leviathan here stepped from the wreckage of the drop pod to face off against its cousin. Turn 2, Night Lord shooting phase. The Praetor lobbed a crack grenade at the Dark Furies, but clearly threw the pin instead of the grenade. The Contemptor here opened fire up at the Lightning, using its helical targeting array, forcing it to jink but causing no damage. The Terror Squads, opting not to shoot as they're surrounded by vehicles, ran a little closer towards the enemy, whilst the Leviathan opened fire with its Grab Flux Bombard, torsion crushing 2 hull points off the Contemptor Mortis. Turn 2, Night Lord's assault phase. The Leviathan failed to make the 8-inch charge there, whilst the Praetor mopped up the remaining Dark Furies, moves ever closer to the opponent's Warlord right at the back of the table here. Turn 2, Raven Guard movement phase. And Alvarex Morn here with his command squad open the top hatches, ready the melter gun at the side arm of the Leviathan. The Raven Guard Contemptor moves away, eyeing up the Praetor. However, its weapons are still cooling down from sky firing last turn. The nearest veteran squad here rolls up in its Rhino, its armour holding strong against the Terror Squad's bolt guns. Whilst over in the corner, the final veteran squad just holds its ground, holding the objective still and tempting the Terror Squad to come closer. Turn 2, Raven Guard shooting phase. The veteran unit here opened fire out the top hatch, felling 2 Terror Squad members from the furthest unit. Whilst the veteran squad here opened fire out their top hatch with a melter gun, got a penetrating hit against the Leviathan, however it pinged off its automatic shielding. And all the way in the far corner, the final Raven Guard veteran squad opened fire at the Terror Squad, but caused no wounds as they hunkered down in the bunker. Turn 3, Night Lord's movement phase. The Primaris Lightning Strike Fighter has turned and headed towards its biggest target, which is the Contemptor Mortis here, whilst underneath the Praetor has used the jump pack to move closer towards the Raven Guard Veterans Rhino, being supported by the Terror Squads. And the Leviathan, after being shot in the side, isn't very pleased with it, turned to face the biggest threat. And all the way over on the other side, the final Terror Squad is finally making a little bit of progress towards the final Raven Guard Rhino there. Turn 3, Night Lord shooting phase. The Primaris Lightning Strike Fighter filled the sky with missile barrage and blew apart the Contemptor Dreadnought. The Leviathan opened fire with its grav flux bombard and melter gun, destroying the Rhino, forcing Commander Morn to come out the side with his veterans, but 2 were caught in the blast and slain. Everyone else tried throwing crack grenades at the Rhinos, but caused no more damage. Turn 3, Night Lord's assault phase. The Terror Squad, over in their own deployment zone, finally get into combat against the Rhino, rip through its rear armour and force the veteran squad to disembark. The Praetor, stuck in the crater here, failed his charge, whilst the other Terror Squad unit managed to get in but only strip 1 hull point, whilst finally the Leviathan Dreadnought, charging at the veteran squad that bailed out of the Rhino it destroyed this turn, used his fist to smash asunder the enemy Raven Guard commander, and also leaving just the sergeant there, whose melter bomb attacked back, struck to the front armour, but bounced off the adamantic shielding of the Leviathan. Turn 3, Raven Guard movement phase. The veteran squad have moved around the rear of the destroyed Rhino to engage the Terror Squad there. The other Rhino disengages from combat, eyeing up the Praetor on his own with a melter gun through the top hatch, whilst the veteran sergeant in the far corner, well, doesn't really have much of a choice. He's facing off against the Leviathan this turn. Turn 3, Raven Guard shooting phase. The veterans held a frag grenade, opened fire with bolt pistols and a melter gun, fell in 3 of the Night Lords here, whilst the melter gun fired from the top hatch at the Praetor, drew a bead on him, hit him square in the chest, but obviously the nerves of the Raven Guard failed them, and they'd only set it to lukewarm as opposed to vaporise. No wounds. Turn 3, Raven Guard assault phase. The Leviathan Dreadnought smushed the sergeant before he could have fixed his melter bomb and casually walks away. Whilst over at the corner, the veteran squad, well, pulled off a heroic victory. Killed 5 of the Terror Squad members, lost 3 in return. However, the sergeant chased off the final 2 Terror Squad members, ran them down, and then consolidated back onto the objective. Turn 4, Night Lord's movement phase. The Night Lord's Praetor has decided to take matters into his own hands, jumped 12 away from his crater, heading towards the Raven Guard sergeant that's hunkered down with the objective. Terror Squad has decided to go and try and finish off the Rhino. The 3rd Terror Squad is holding down with the objective in the opponent's deployment zone, whilst the Leviathan is heading forward to back up the Terror Squad against the Rhino. Turn 4, Night Lord shooting phase. The Leviathan Dreadnought runs ever closer. The Terror Squad threw a grenade at the Rhino, somehow managed to miss it, whilst the Night Lord's Praetor has run a little bit closer towards his target. Turn 4, Night Lord's assault phase, and the headsman carved straight through the front of the Rhino, forcing the veteran squad to disembark. Turn 4, Raven Guard movement phase. The Raven Guard veteran unit moved from behind the ruin of the Rhino to target the Terror Squad in front of them. Turn 4, Raven Guard shooting phase, and the veterans here, well, they cocked up massively as they threw a frag grenade straight up in the air, back down on themselves, luckily saved everything. But the rest of the weapons, too distracted by being pebble dashed with shrapnel, didn't do anything. Turn 4, Raven Guard assault phase. The veterans charged in, killed 2 of the Terror Squad, who in return also killed 2 of the veterans. Drawn combat. Night Lord's turn 5 movement phase. The Praetor jumped off his perch on the bunker to hide behind the macro cannon, getting closer towards his prey. The Leviathan stomps from the trench work, heading to help his smaller brothers. Turn 5, Night Lord's shooting phase, or running phase as it's turned out. The Praetor runs ever closer, as does the Leviathan Dreadnought. Turn 5, Night Lord's assault phase. The headsman lops off the head of his counterpart, leaving just the 1 Raven Guard left. The Night Lords win, but the veterans are fearless. Raven Guard entirety of turn 5. The veteran sergeant lobbed a grenade up, missed his target, whilst the final member of the other veteran squad was locked down by the headsman again with his chain blade. Turn 6, Night Lord's turn. The Praetor leaps down from the balcony. Balcony? Yeah, it's a balcony now, why not? Lands in front of the veteran, throws a crack grenade at him, nice rim shot round the gorget, drops down his neck, blows into pieces. So thank you all for watching. As it turned out, it was a 8-0 victory for the Night Lords there. Well done, wifey. Tune back soon. Hopefully going to get a game of my Iron Warriors versus 40k Carl's Alpha Legion as a refight of Paramar. So thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, leave us a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.